I'm Rob Exotic, and I have the largest big tiger conservation. This is my cat. This is my tiger. Alright.
Like we have our little mini intro for next week.
Hi, I'm Joe Exotic. God, that's such a good show.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's crazy. So crazy. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bald and the Bearded. I am Robbie, joined along with
Jacob.
So, today, we're gonna flip it a little bit upside down. Normally we have some news, but with the whole COVID-19 BS still going on, there's not a whole lot that we can really talk about news-wise. You know, stuff's dropping early, you know, nothing really big has happened. So today we're gonna do top 5 childhood cartoons. We all watched them, we all enjoyed them. Some of us who may still be in your upper 20s, lower 30s are still watching said cartoons. I'm currently watching Star Wars The Clone Wars so I can get to that new season that dropped. You're never too old to turn on a cartoon. So, with that being said, we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to save the best for last, like always. So, jumping in, and surprisingly, at number 5, I have Gargoyles. I know I have talked about Gargoyles many times on this podcast and other podcasts that I've been on and a part of. Gargoyles was just a show that was ahead of its time. You can currently watch it on Disney Plus. It still has such a good storyline. Goliath, all these different gargoyles that you get to introduce. Everybody is different, and they do a good job of fleshing out their stories. And the stuff that they tackled, the controversial stuff they tackled, was so far ahead of its time. You know, they tackled racial issues, just tons of stuff like that that in that time was kind of taboo to kind of mess with, because this was a 90s kids cartoon. But they did it very well. That's a show that has stuck with me. I've actually watched it on Disney Plus until the Clone Wars new episode dropped, and I'm trying to catch back up to it. But if you haven't watched it or ever watched it at all, give it a try. It's on Disney Plus. It is a great show. Did you ever watch Gargoyles?
Oh yeah.
What were your thoughts on it?
I don't remember.
Don't remember? I know that's the fun part about these remembering episodes is it's hard to remember stuff about them. But I just remember a lot of really good action, a lot of really good stories, and tackling a lot of big issues that are going on in the world. So that was something that I really enjoyed. What is your numero 5-0?
Mine would be All Real Monsters.
I'm holding my eyes. What's some of the stuff that you enjoyed about that show?
I just liked their little adventures they'd always go on in the sewers below the world, you know.
Right, and how these little monsters are living, and I mean, they are just some of the most disgusting looking monsters. You know, eating garbage. There was the leader of the monster, which was this guy, but he wore high heels. Like, I mean, it was weird. It was just a weird, fun show. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember watching the mess out of it, and the girl, she was like this black and white thing, and she would turn into an umbrella and scare the crap out of people. It's just a fun show. What else do you remember? Some fun stuff you remember from it?
That's really all I remember. I mean, I remember watching it all the time. But I mean, other than like main details, it's hard to look back and remember everything. You know?
Right.
So this is one of the older cartoons.
I want to say early
90s.
Yeah. Now, a show that I devoured many times is every time it came on, whatever channel, Disney, Cartoon Network, whatever, the XMen, the animated TV show. Like,
that was a good one.
Greatest things. I can literally walk into any establishment and start that theme song, and somebody is going to join in with me. I did it at work, and then all of a sudden, my coworker stuck his head out of LT. He goes, like, it's such a great show. Getting to see the X-Men in all its early 90s glory. Going back, are a lot of these shows campy nowadays? I mean, a little over the top, yes, but they are good, wholesome, fun, and you have the X-Men going up against the Sentinels. They do introduce the world's most useless mutant in Jubilee, because all she does is firecrackers out of her fingers. She can bedazzle people. That was such a great show, and like I said, people all the time remember it, and I could talk to just about anybody, and they would say, yeah, I love that show. You never hear somebody say, X-Men sucked. Because it didn't. It was great. It was super enjoyable. Like I said, you got to meet a lot of super cool characters that you would not have, that are outside of the main group of X-Men, which was really cool. Do you have anything to say on X-Men?
I just like how, Mystique's character, she could shapeshift into like a lot more different sizes and everything in the cartoon than she could in the real life movies. I thought that was always pretty cool. Right,
and I thought it was cool as it went from the 90s X-Men to X-Men Evolution, and as it kept going into these different seasons of X-Men, you actually see Kurt, which is the teleporting mutant, and they tied a story in to where Mystique was his mother, and a lot of weird, cool stuff. So the X-Men show and the X-Men Evolution show, I kind of grouped those together because it kind of the 90s took and then the 2000s took with X-Men Evolution, and you got to see Kitty Pryde, Rogue. Like Rogue was in the original, Rogue was also in the Evolution. So they were cool. They were all really good. Thoroughly enjoyed them. What about your numero forso?
I would say it is probably Hey Arnold.
Hey Football Head. Now, that was a show that everybody watched, everybody enjoyed. What are some stuff that you remember about Hey Arnold?
I always wanted a room just like his.
He did have a very interesting room. I mean, just all kinds of cool little things in there.
Mm-hmm.
I always remembered the grandfather telling all the stories, because it kind of reminds me of anybody's grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
He tells the same stories all the time, and you still laugh at him. Like that's just how it is. Of course, you had the stalker. Let's just call her what she is. She stalked. She was a bully to Hey Arnold, but she was really digging Arnold though. Like she dug him pretty hard. And it's just one of those kind of like Recess kind of like thing. You don't get out very far outside of their area, but there's so much that happens in that area that's super cool and super entertaining. And I know some of the people who are watching this, might not have been born or were very young and didn't watch these shows. When we talk about these are shows that we grew up loving. You might watch them and you might not, but at least give them a chance because they're very good, enjoyable shows. Anything else on Hey Arnold?
I mean, not really. I mean, it's just a really good show for its time and everything. I mean, it still would be today if it still came on.
Oh yeah, I think All Real Monsters, X-Men, a couple of these shows that we're going to mention could definitely do very well. Obviously revamp the graphics and the animation and everything, but it could definitely fit. So my third, it's so like these next three are so hard to say this is my first, this is my second, or this is my third. Third coming in was Batman, the animated series. You had the best Joker and the best Batman. You had Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, voicing the Joker, and you had Kevin Conrad voicing Batman. And every episode was action-packed, I mean, Batman being his normal detective self, kicking people's butt, and you got to see a lot of the bad guys, and they fleshed out their story. I mean, such a good show, and I want to. They have the Blu-ray set of Batman the Animated Series, and I want to get it because I want to relive Batman the Animated Series. Did you watch that one at all, or did you watch?
Probably, but I don't remember much about it.
I mean, you had the episode where they introduced Clayface, which was a cop that kind of got turned into Clayface, and he, obviously turning into a giant pile of clay was not very mentally. It's hard to mentally prepare for that. So he lived a life of crime. And that's probably one of my favorite episodes, the most memorable episodes, was just, I wished I had the pop figure, because I know they have a pop figure for the Clayface in the Batman Animated Series, because it was such a good episode. You get to see him struggle with becoming that. He's trying to do good, but inevitably he just can't continue to be good. He becomes a villain. And one of the tougher villains to fight for Batman, because batarangs might explode, but he'll just come back. But that's my number 3. Like I said, great show. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch these Batman movies and TV shows and different stuff like that. The animated ones are so good.
I'm gonna change one of mine now. I'd say my number 3 would be the Justice League animated series.
Such a good show. What are some of your favorite people? What's your favorite character from that one?
I think my favorite was probably Hot Girl, because she's always swinging that mace around,
Right.
Just a genuine boss,
Green Lantern has always been one of my favorites. John Stewart is the Green Lantern that we were introduced to in the Justice League. He's a more stoic, we'll just say it, a hard ass. Instead of Hal Jordan, which is the jokester of the Green Lanterns. But John Stewart was always, kicking butt. He was always so strong-willed. And I know when they first started, it was just the Justice League, and then once the show grew and they went into space and had all thousands of people in the Justice League, Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, was one of my favorites from that one. He doesn't have any abilities. He's just very accurate with
a more preppy Batman.
Right, and I've always liked his character. What's some of the stuff that you liked about the Justice League?
I think my favorite episode was the one where they went to the alternate reality and they had another Justice League. They had like that little kind of monk-looking Green Lantern, and then they had I can't remember all the other characters, but they did have an alternate reality.
Right, like you had
it was a good episode.
Yeah. I always loved those alternate reality, and maybe it's just because I like the alternate reality movies and shows like Red Sun and Flashpoint, but I always liked seeing, even in Power Rangers, when they had to fight a different Power Ranger group, it's always cool seeing them pit each other against, like Superman on Superman or a Flash on Flash, and then they have to be like, okay, they know how I think, they know how I fight, and then they switch up. Batman might be fighting the Flash, and Superman might be fighting Martian Manhunter or something like that. So they always understand that, yes, they may know me, but they may not know you. So that was always, that's a cool part of that episode. Now, this show, I had so many toys. I probably almost bankrupted my parents from toys from this show. The Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I watched that show. I had it. My grandmother, when I went over to her house, she didn't have satellite. She just had 3, 5, 10, and 15. So it was either, when I would go over there, it's Days of Our Lives, General Hospital. I didn't care for that. So I made her go and buy me the VHS, dating myself, my VHS of the Ninja Turtles, and it was just 2 of them, so I only had 2 episodes. But every time I'd go over there, I'd watch those 2 episodes over and over again. Obviously, when I was at my house, I got to watch all the rest of them. But the Ninja Turtles has always been a shows, movies that I've thoroughly enjoyed. I even had the giant, I mean, it was probably that big and that tall. It was their mobile command center, and you would open it up and you could play with your little, you had Shredder, Master Splinter, and, you know, all the Ninja Turtles. I mean, it was such a cool toy. But the show, you know, you learned about patience, you learned about being kind, like you learned all these morally right things from them, but you also got to see them kick the crap out of the Foot Clan. And the movies came first. I have like 2 or 3 Ninja Turtle shirts, and Holly hates when I wear them because I'm an adult. But you know, it's such a great show. If you haven't watched them, obviously you're missing out. Did you ever watch like the original, like the super campy '90s one, or did you watch any of the shows?
I watched the cartoon version, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good show. Obviously the movies are great. The third one, Turtles in Time, it was not the way to go. They should have stopped at the second one, but they then made a live action Ninja Turtles TV shows. That was really good. And I was watching movies or Toys That Made Us, and Hasbro and like the company that was making the toys, they said, well, let's add a 5th turtle. And the 2 guys that originally came up with the Ninja Turtles were like, that's not how we envisioned it. They weren't male chauvinists, but it was always 4. So that's when they threw in a girl turtle to kind of appease to have a new audience to watch, getting the young girls to watch and everything like that. And not because of them adding her is why the ratings went down. It's just the writing and everything got pretty bad near the end of that one. But it was still a very enjoyable show. What is your number 2?
I would say Courage the Cowardly Dog.
You stupid dog! You make me look bad! Yeah, Courage. So many great episodes. Tell me some of the stuff that you liked about Courage.
I mean, when I was a kid, some of the episodes, I couldn't watch at night.
Yeah, they were freaky.
Yeah, like the curse one.
Right.
The tablet.
Where that little thing, the guy.
Yeah, with those crazy little 3 strands of hair.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some that would just downright freak you out, like the hotel with the spiders. Nah, dog. But Courage always found a way to save Muriel and Eustace. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Muriel and Eustace. Always found a way to save them in some kind of weird fashion. And one good thing about these shows is they always had something that you were learning from that show as well. Courage might have been the most scared dog in the world, but he loved his peoples, and he always fought for the peoples. So what else did you like about Courage? I know you said some of them scared you, but
made me learn you can never have too much cheese or macaroni.
They did make a ton of that. All the time. That's my kind of people, though. I love me some macaroni.
More cheese. More macaroni.
So I love reminiscing on these old TV shows that I want to go back and watch. Because just Courage's reactions to these scary things, like, how he's trying to tell somebody that something's coming and he'll turn into a hammer and beat in that, like, just over the top cartoon antics. But they were great antics. So, before we jump into number 1, I'm going to do some honorable mentions that I thoroughly enjoyed. Mine would be Zoids. Zoids was one of the Toonami shows that I watched the mess out of. Mechanized animals, dinosaurs. Such a cool show. I know some people will probably want to take my my nerd card away, but Gundam was also an honorable mention. I always enjoyed. I like mech stuff. That was always a big thing of mine. Gundam was always super cool. Very much enjoyed it. Do you have an honorable mention that you would like to?
I mean, I'm right there with you with Zoids and Gundam. I watched the crap out of Zoids, though.
Yeah, no. It's on YouTube. You can still watch them on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
You can watch even Captain
I even
Planet.
had some of the Zoid toys and stuff.
Right. My last one of honorable mention would be Digimon. Digimon Digital Monsters was a show that I devoured while I was in college. When I was supposed to be paying attention to my professors with my laptop, I was watching Digimon, the first season, on YouTube, because it's still on there. Like, a lot of those old shows are on YouTube, you can find them. And I would watch the mess out of it when I probably should have been paying attention to my professors. But, you know, it is what it is. College life. YOLO. So, jumping in to the number one. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
I'll go first.
What you got?
I got Ed, and Eddy.
Butter toast.
You dare mock the son of a shepherd?
Such a good show about 3 Ed boys, all named Ed, and all they want in life
is jawbreakers.
Is to go to get a freaking jawbreaker. That is the most simple thing that a show could be about. And they went on for seasons, for a long time, just about these crazy cockamamie schemes that the Ed boys would come up with and situations they would get themselves in, all to get a jawbreaker. And that was one piece of candy as a kid that I wanted. Just one of those, make my cheek come out to right here. I know it's not humanly possible.
They used to have some that were like
that were that big.
The mall. You'd have to get them in the thing.
You have to
break them
before you can eat them. I talk about I wanted one that was just like bigger than a bowling ball.
Big old mouth watering.
Right.
Jawbreaker. Break your jaw on.
But I mean, there were a lot of super cool characters. You had Plank.
Plank. Plank.
Plank was just a piece of wood carried around by what's his name? I can't even remember. But
Johnny.
Johnny. Then you had Rolf, which was the you son of a shepherd.
Which we never did really figure out where he was from.
Right. And you know what you never saw? Parents.
Yeah.
There were no parents in that cul-de-sac at all. Then you had the super sports kid. Kevin. You must have recently watched a couple episodes.
No, I just remember.
Dang, man. That's good memory.
I watched the crap out of that show.
Oh, I did too. And not only did the big, tall Ed, did he like jawbreakers, but he also loved butter toast,
gravy,
and gravy.
Which me and Robbie quote that all the time.
All the time. I remember him like in a tub of gravy one time.
Yeah.
Such a good show. Ed, and Eddy was a childhood favorite of mine. I didn't put it on my list because I knew you'd have it on your list, and I knew that we could talk about it. Anything else on the Ed Boys?
Anybody that watched it, you know, they know it's a funny show, and many hours went into that show.
Right. Many crazy antics and many laughs. So, my number one, Dragon Ball Z.
The greatest of all time.
Dragon Ball Z. I do not acknowledge that there was a GT. Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
That was, But I will say Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I would come home from school. You'd get home from school about 2:30, 3 o'clock, just in time for prime time Toonami. You'd watch Zoids, Dragon Ball Z, and whatever else they had on Toonami. Those were my big two. I would watch the crap out of Dragon Ball Z. I have the Dragon Ball Z movies. I have the first 4 seasons on DVD. They're so hard to...
I remember on Toonami it'd say the most action-packed cartoon in the world.
Yeah. Even though you might have Goku charging up the Spirit Bomb for 5 episodes. All 5 episodes is just him.
Yeah, the episodes used to seem so long then, and you go back and watch it now, they're all 20 minutes long.
And you're just like, man. But the Frieza saga, the Saiyan saga, Cell saga, Majin Buu saga. They were just all so good.
And
like,
even the movies they've come out with, like,
right.
It's been 3 movies now.
With Emperor Beerus.
Battle of the Gods.
Right, like
Resurrection F, and then now Broly. I mean, they've all been really good.
Right.
Because Broly, you know, it was nothing but fighting for most of the movie.
I wished I could go back and be that child that's watching all this for the first time and not really understanding the greatness that he was watching.
Wish I could just erase these movies and like
Right.
rewatch them.
I'm gonna do a staycation for a week one day, take a whole week off of work, and I'm gonna watch all 4 seasons of Dragon Ball Z. It's a lot because there's so many episodes on one little disc. Because they're all 30 minutes with the little commercial breaks. But man, they were good. Favorite DBZ character?
Definitely Goku because he has all these abilities, you know.
Mine was always Piccolo.
Oh yeah.
I
I've always liked transformations, and you know they all have so many, you know.
Right.
So
I just anytime I play Dragon Ball Z games and like the Dragon Ball Z, the one that you could create your own character, I was always in the Namekian.
Because I played the what was it that crap? It's the one, the Xenoverse.
Yeah,
I got the second one, and I'm a Saiyan, but if I didn't choose the Saiyan, I'd probably choose Frieza's race because I like the transformations and everything.
Right, and I get that. I think they're super cool as well.
Because I was gonna choose the Majin Buu race, but it has a generic transformation, so.
Right, but even then, I always just picked the good old Namekians because I just always liked their characters. Every now and then, I'd create a Saiyan or something like that, but just Piccolo was always my boy. Anything else you want to add to this action-packed episode of Bald and the Beard?
No, I think we covered it all. I mean, anybody. I'm pretty sure everybody has watched Dragon Ball Z minus a few.
Right.
They just know its greatness.
Yeah.
So we don't need to really reflect on anything else.
And there's so much to reflect. Because now you have the new Dragon Ball Z Kai that's out.
And it's really good too.
Such good stuff. Good stuff.
You get to see everybody all grown up, and even though they're like 50 years old,
right,
they still look the same.
Like, can we just say how big of a player Krillin was to turn an android
into a person?
that little bald man had some game. That's all I'm gonna say. Guys, thanks for coming and checking out our top 5 favorite cartoons growing up. We would love to hear some of your favorite cartoons that we didn't mention, because everybody has their own set, and if you agree with some of ours being your favorite, let us know. Again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. And again, if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about, please let us know. You can comment down below. You can post on our Facebook page or post on any of our videos or any memes or news articles that we share. Hit us up. We'd love to talk about it. Guys, thanks for hanging out. This has been Robbie.
Hey, Jacob.
Peace.